All right, welcome to part 2 of answering your questions. I realized at the end of that last video I said part 3, but I meant to say part 2. So, my bad. All right, so yeah, pretty good questions so far, but we got a lot more to go. So, let's just crack on.
This one's from Booziest Bastus 1. What are your 3 all-time favorite movies?
One that comes to mind is Grind. Girl Next Door is definitely one of my favorites. What? That movie's great. For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. It's a great movie. Let's see. Third one. Damn. There's not much of a... I mean, I like movies, but... Oh, damn.
The Dirt?
I mean, I haven't seen it enough times to... I mean, yeah, it was a great movie, but...
Alright.
I mean, yeah, I think that's good enough.
Okay. Norwegian Black something wants to know top worst releases that you bought or that you were disappointed with.
Definitely that new Birth EP that came out. I think it was last year. Yeah, it was just. I mean those first 2 records were so good, and then I just thought that EP just really fell short. And then they were great live too. I mean, what's up? Oh, okay. Anyways, they were great live too. I saw them at Never Surrender last October. They were great, but I mean, I wasn't a fan of that new stuff. So, I mean, hopefully their next effort will be better. But I mean, yeah, those. As far as releases that I actually bought, that's one that really comes to mind.
We've got 2 more questions. Are you going to Steelfest next year, 2021?
Yeah, provided I can get into the goddamn country.
He said if yes, see you there.
Yeah, sure. Come up, say hi, we'll have a beer.
And last question from him. You already answered the films, but any favorite books?
Not much of a book person. Reading's just never been one of my strong suits, unfortunately. But I do own some books. Obviously, I own The Dirt, a couple of Nikki Sixx's books. Basically, all fucking Motley Crue books, autobiographies, biographies, whatever I own. So yeah.
Alright, this one comes from Beautiful Noise Vinyl and Gaming Clips. Thoughts on battle jackets, and do you have one? If so, would you ever make a video showing it?
I have a vest, but I haven't updated it in years. I'd like to. I do have a jacket. I just haven't started on it. I've got plenty of patches. I just have not found the time to do it. As far as making a video for it, no, I would probably never do that. So, no, I mean, you can get it if you want real quick. Okay, yeah, just
Where is it?
Get it. It's in the closet. Okay, so she's gonna go get it real quick. But yeah, I haven't added any new patches to this vest in God, at least 3 years. I've added like pins, but I haven't added any patches. Yeah, that one doesn't have anything on it because that's the one that I still got to work on. So yeah, that's just kind of the front. You got the section patch there. You got a few pins. You got Nocturnal Mortem on this side. Got a few more pins. Kind of hard to see. It's the fucking glare, and that's the back of it. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that thing hasn't been fucking. There hasn't been anything added to that in forever. So, it's like, I mean, when you see a lot of the few things on there, it's like, damn, it's very like starter black metal because it's got Bathory and Morbid and like shit like that. But hey, you know what?
Next question. Paulo Brando asks, "What's the first record that you've bought, and what got you into black metal?"
First record, like the first black metal record, or just record in general?
I guess record in general.
I mean, the first ever like actual legit vinyl record that I owned was Motley Crue's "Too Fast for Love." What was the other question?
What got you into black metal?
Just it's bands like Dissection, because like I started listening to like the Swedish stuff because I was already listening to like stuff like Old In Flames and Dark Tranquillity and At the Gates and just like the Swedish melodic death metal stuff. So then I started listening to the black metal stuff, and which started with like bands like Dissection, Lord Belial, Sacramentum, Vinterland, Dawn, Nocturnal Mortem, not Swedish, but still, they were one of them. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started. And then of course everybody, listens to fucking Bathory and, like Dark Throne and shit when they first start listening to black metal. So yeah.
Doomed Existence asks, "What is your favorite breakfast food?"
Biscuits and gravy. And Esmeralda hates it.
I've grown to like it.
Yeah, see. But it has to be the good kind of biscuits, like the
Honey butter.
the honey butter flaky biscuits. That's how you make it. It's not as good if you make it with any other kind of biscuit. Like, if you buy restaurant biscuits and gravy, they suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nowhere near as good. Because they don't have that, it doesn't have the flavor, the same flavor.
Garrett Kalinowski asked, okay, we already answered his, was how'd you get into black metal and what band you listened to?
Yeah, like I said, skip the redundant questions.
Matthew Carson asks, have you ever heard of Black Magic SS? If so, what'd you think of them?
That's a good one. Yeah, I do know Black Magic SS, and it's just not my thing. I've listened to a few songs, and I just didn't care for it. I'm like, and I'm not the only person that said this, but I totally believe this 100%. So if I offend anybody who likes them, I'm sorry. Personally, I think the only reason why most black metal fans like that band so much is because they're sketchy. That's it. No bullshit. That's what I think. Other than that, though, no. I think they're overrated, and there's nothing special about them.
Jared Dove asks, what's your favorite Drowning the Light album? Hails from Australia.
Serpent's Reign. I would say Serpent's Reign, followed closely by From the Abyss, Lyman of Dead Stars, Drowned. Yeah.
Goat Moon Warmaster. This might be a little redundant, but he said top 10 favorite black metal bands.
I haven't really mentioned
Oh no, you
that.
did NS.
Yeah.
Or DS.
Yeah. Top 10 favorite black metal bands. Drawing the Light, definitely. Vinterland. Fuck. It's so hard to answer. It really is. Nordvrid. It's definitely one of them. Judas Iscariot. Satanic Warmaster. Odal is another one of my favorites. Mentioned that one earlier. And when I'm thinking about bands as my favorites, I think about their overall discography. So not just like a couple albums where it's like, yeah, these are really good, but then the rest of their albums are not so good. So I don't even know how many that was.
I wasn't counting.
Neither was I. Shit.
I mean, if you've named 5, I think 5 is good enough.
Yeah. would say that's good enough.
Leonardo Yu is curious.
Oh, source to glass. Yeah, that one. Just a giant flag in front of me. I'm like, why the fuck didn't I say that? Yeah. Yeah. Black Salice. Yeah, that's another one. I don't know. There's so many, and then I just think of ones that are just coming to my head, or I'll have like the poster on my wall. I'm just like, oh fuck. So, but yeah. All right.
Leonardo Yu is curious to know your thoughts on Leviathan's side project, Lurker of Chalice.
I think Lurker of Chalice is a good project. Personally, I think that album is better than most of Leviathan material. Then again, I don't know, I'm very picky with my Leviathan stuff. I really only care about like the first few albums. 10 Sublevel of Suicide, Tentacles of Horror, Silhouette and Splinters. Even though that's not a black metal album, I still really like that one. True Trader, True Horror is alright. Massive Conspiracy Against All Life. I don't think that album's good at all. Scar-Sided was a nice return to actually being good. But, yes, that's Leviathan. Lurker of Chalice, yeah, is a great project. And like I said, better than most of the stuff that Jeff Whitehead has done under Leviathan.
Next question comes from Jumas TV. What's your favorite video game of all time?
Damn.
I kind of added the all time because you had mentioned that.
I'd say The Last of Us definitely is one of my favorites. God, Tony Hawk's Underground. Those are a couple that come to mind. Yeah, there's a couple right there. Oh, 13, which they remade 13, and it's coming out this month, and I can't wait. Because, I mean, they must have, which is really weird, because if you've played that game, it ended, which it's an old game, it came out on PS, well, I mean, yeah, technically, not old for us, but, I don't know. It came out, people that are my age probably grew up with it, I know I did. Came out on PS2, GameCube, I don't know if it came out on the original Xbox or not, but, it ended with a cliffhanger, and there were plans to make a second one, but it never happened, probably because the game wasn't popular enough, and they thought it was going to be, they probably thought it was going to be more popular than it was, and it just wasn't. But I guess some kind of indie company got the rights to it from Ubisoft or whatever, and they remade it, so I'm looking forward to it, because yeah, that is one of my all-time favorite games. So it's just a great first-person shooter, and it's just very different. It's not like the repetitive Call of Duty nonsense that you see these days. It's very good. Good story. It's a good game.
Okay, one more question from him. If you had to get one black metal band logo tattooed, who would you get and why?
Probably Drawing a Light, just because it's my favorite black metal band. So either that or Vinterland, probably.
Weird Path 5's question is, what do you hate that labels or record stores do? For example, not enough presses, only carry a certain shitty remastered version.
Yeah, the limited pressings thing is kind of annoying, but at the same time I understand, because some of the smaller labels, like, okay, for example, a few of the labels get at least right now in the underground black metal scene that get the most shit for that are Go to Warx, and another one that comes to mind is Death Cult Productions. Now, I'll be flat out honest. Go to Warx, I strongly believe that Danny does it just to be a dick. Just to hype it up. But Death Cult, Dan is a very nice guy, and he's hooked me up several times, and I know there's been a lot of shit thrown his way about the way he does stuff and his label, but he's expressed several times that he puts out presses within his budget. So if he can only print 100 copies of this record or this tape, then that's all he can do. But I mean, Go to Rolex has been around for fucking ever. So at that point, it's just like, it's ridiculous, But, what was the other general question? Oh, something else that I hate that labels do. When I can't get the fucking record sleeve into the goddamn jacket, that like Iron Bonehead, that shit is fucking annoying. And Iron Bonehead's been around for fucking ever, and they still can't get that right. Yeah, I mean, I have other vinyl releases of very lesser known labels, and I can get the fucking sleeve into the jacket. But Iron Bonehead is a massive label, massive underground label, and they still can't get that right. So I don't know. It's just there's no point in having the sleeve to put the record in if you can't get it in the jacket sleeve. It's just there's no point. It just defeats the purpose of having it. So that's one of the things that really just I cannot stand. Other than that, there's not really another thing. Actually, there's another thing when I don't know if this is the label or the band that does this when they do stupid posters that instead of putting like the album cover or something cool on the poster, they put just the stupidest fucking thing. And I think I talked about this in one of my recent updates, which you're going to see that again here in a future update where I talk about how much I hate that. So, yeah, that's pretty much covers it. Yeah.
I've got one more question. What do you think of Dead Space from Australia?
Dead Space. Never heard of them. But you can link an album in the description if you want, and I'll check it out if I get the chance.
Next question. Adonato Cosmiki wants to know if you've ever watched Breaking Bad.
I've never watched it, but I've heard good things about it. But unfortunately, it's just one of those things where you have to devote so much time to watching, because I know Breaking Bad has several seasons. I mean, right now, me and Esmeralda are in the middle of watching Supernatural, and we're only on season 8, and there's fucking 15 seasons? Yeah, so we're like just over halfway done with that. It's gonna be a while until we actually finish it, so yeah.
Andreas Bergstrom wants to know, what's your opinion on Varg Vikers?
Varg Vikers.
Yeah. And not just his music.
I think Varg's great. I mean, I don't see what the big deal is. Yeah, he killed somebody, but that was over 25 years ago, and that's because that guy was gonna kill him. I mean, his videos were great too. And I think Burzum's a fantastic project. I pretty much like everything Burzum's ever done. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Justin Bagnishi asks, what's your favorite beer?
Dos Equis, Stella, Yangling, but we can't get fucking Yangling. You can't get Yangling west of the Mississippi River. So at least right now, I think they're in the middle of expanding their distribution. So hopefully we'll finally get fucking Yangling here in St. Louis. But I'm not holding my breath. So yeah, I can only get it when I go further east. It sucks because it's one of my favorites.
Daniel Morales asks, what are some of the death metal you listen to besides Incantation?
Well, first of all, I don't really care for Incantation that much. I've never really said that. Maybe I've talked about Blood Incantation in the past, but even then, I kind of got over my Blood Incantation fix a while ago. Death metal bands. I'm just not much of a death metal person. Unless it's like old school Swedish melodic death metal, I just don't care for it. Most death metal is just boring to me. One band that does come to mind that's still chugging it out is, they haven't been around for too terribly long, but excuse me, I think they've been around for at least they've got to have been around for at least almost 20 years at this point. Or getting very close. Van Helg from Sweden, they're a very good band. Very good Swedish death metal band. Other than that, as far as just regular death metal, I just don't care,
They also want to know, would you happen to listen to Macabre?
Huh?
Here.
Oh, Macabre. Band sounds familiar, but I don't think I've ever listened to them.
Alright. Benja Warnbust wants to know what the first black metal band you ever heard was and who turned you onto it.
I kind of already answered this one.
Sorry.
But it's slightly different. It's a variation. It's a variation. Nobody really turned me on to black metal. It was just one of those things where I was on YouTube and it just came up in like a selection or whatever, or in a suggested videos, and I just clicked on it and I just started listening to it and I liked it. So that's pretty much it. God, the majority of the stuff that I've discovered have just been strictly from YouTube suggestions. Like, I always get people that ask me, how do you find new music? And I'm just like, YouTube suggestions is really good, if you're trying, because, obviously it will bring up stuff that's in the same, that other people have gone to that are coming from the same video. At least I think that's how that shit works. I don't know. But, yeah. But Dissection was definitely one of the very first ones that I listened to.
Next question, Straight Edge asks, what is your opinion of Satanism in black metal?
I don't really have an opinion on it. It's something that's been there since black metal started. Even in the 80s it was there. Yeah, it gets old after a while, but you go back to Venom, and the first Bathory record, and it's just like, it was already there, there hasn't really been any black metal before that did not have any lyrical themes related to Satanism. So, it's just kind of one of those things where you either like it or you don't, or, I know from what I know and from what I've heard and seen, most people that listen to black metal do not give a fuck about the lyrical content. They could care less what the band is singing about or screaming about. So, and I'm the same way. I don't give a shit. Unless it's, yeah, I don't know. It's it's kind of a hard question to answer for me, but I don't know. I just don't care. It's black metal. If you don't like what they're singing about, you're in the wrong genre.
Alright, next question is from Oleg A. What are your thoughts on the band Hypothermia?
I think I've listened to them a little bit, and from what I remember, it was okay, but I haven't really, delved super deep into their discography. I couldn't even tell you an album, but I know I have listened to them before. It's just been a while.
Okay. VDXLIE wants to know what your favorite Motley Crue song is.
Toast to the Town. It's a great song. Great riffs.
I think this will be the last question for the video.
Yeah, because we're almost at 25 minutes. So.
Alright, this one's a 4-part, so G. Piercier 1 asks, discover, which you've already answered most of the bands?
What's the actual question?
How do you discover most of these bands and album releases?
Okay, so yeah, like I mentioned, YouTube suggestions is a good one. I talk with numerous people, obviously, through social media that listen to black metal. You know, obviously through friends and, you know, actual people that I see in person. The black metal promotion page is also very good for discovering new stuff. I know for some of you are probably thinking it's very starter pack, but I mean, that is how I've discovered a lot of good bands and albums is from the black metal promotion YouTube channel. Also, I mean, I follow a lot of labels and stuff on Facebook, Instagram, you know, etc. So if I see something that kind of catches my eye, even though have not even heard it, just looks like something that I would like, I check it out. That's happened to me many a times where I see something and I'm like, damn, this looks like it might be good, and I just click on it and I listen to a snippet of it and I'm just like, yeah, I'm buying this. So yeah, I mean, it's all about, like, you actually have to put forth the fucking effort. You can't just like sit around and just like expect to discover something new. It's like you have to actually put forth some effort. So yeah.
Second question kind of ties into the Satanism question the person before asked. Black metal addresses several topics of spiritualism and ideology within the lyrics. What spiritual or I can't pronounce that word.
Ideologies.
Yeah, sure. Beliefs, if any, do you have that influence your interest in black metal genre?
It's a very interesting question. So the only thing I have to say about that is, again, it kind of goes back to what I said before. I am not a religious person. I could give a fuck about religion, politics, etc. You know, so I mean, whatever the singer sings about does not affect me as a person. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I don't know how to answer it any better than that.
Has your family always been supportive of your interest in black metal?
Man, these are good questions.
And in starting a large music collection primarily in this genre, or has there been conflict?
I mean, usually when I have a family member that asks about what I listen to, I usually try to steer away from the question and kind of talk about something else. Just because black metal is it's one of those genres that is not for everybody. And it shouldn't be for everybody. Because, you know, the music is very hard on the ears, obviously. And it's just not something, unless you're talking to somebody who already likes it and listens to it, it's very difficult to talk to somebody else who doesn't listen to it. You know, because a lot of the people, like, you go to some of these music sites or whatever, and you get all these people that are talking about, like, the popular bands. They have no fucking clue that black metal even exists on the underground. They think that Slipknot and, you know, Cannibal Corpse is the most offensive and heaviest shit they will ever hear in their life. They have no clue what's in the underground. I was reading a comment, I think it was earlier today, and somebody was like, oh, black metal's gonna be dead in 20 years. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. If you, like, black metal is like one of the most thriving genres, I think. At least in metal. I mean, and I think one of the things that separates black metal from other metal genres is that black metal fans are just more real. I don't know. They stick to themselves. They don't try to, like, you know. Posers. Yeah, like what my better half just said. They're not posers. I mean, yeah, we do have some in the genre that we're trying to weed out. You know, a few bands that I mentioned before in my, I think it was part 1. But other than that, though, I mean, it's just hard. It's hard to talk to somebody about black metal if they don't listen to it. And it's one of those genres that I feel will always be around. There'll always be something new, and yeah, that's pretty much. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but yeah, that's just how I feel about it.
Last question, about what percentage do you keep of the albums you buy versus albums you sell? And where can your fans find the albums you're selling?
Well, I can link my Discogs store in the description box of this video. I'll do it for all the parts of the Q&A. So I do make blind buys occasionally, but if I do, they're cheap blind buys. Like, I'm talking going through a record store, looking through used CDs, and it's like an $8 or $9 CD. And I'm just like, hey, yeah, this might be good. Or, if I don't know what it is, but it looks like something I might like, I'll look it up on Metal Archives and just see what it's about, what kind of reviews does it have, what are people saying about it, But I've gotten plenty of blind buys where I didn't like it, and then I sold it not long after I bought it. Some records, lately I've really been weeding out my records, just selling the ones that I've only played like once since I bought it. And whenever I have the time, I'm always picking out records and throwing them up on Discogs. So just check back periodically. You might find something cool. You never know.
That was it for that.
So that's it?
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for part 2. Thanks for sticking around. And yeah, take care. And I will see you in part 3.